If your dog is itching like crazy, this video is for you. Now, you might have been going to the vet and you still have the same problem. You might have gone to the vet backwards and forwards a few times and no one seems to help you with what you are going through. So in this video, I am going to show all the different possibilities and a lot of the remedies, and potentially I'm going to solve your problem, because this is what we do. If you don't know me, if you're new here, I am Sam. I'm a canine nutritionist, and we have been operating for quite a few years here in the northeast of England, and we specialize in nutrition and we solve problems with nutrition. So if that is something you are interested in, well, this video is going to be for you. Now let's delve straight into it. There are mainly three different types of allergies. We have environmental, we have food, and we have breed specific. We are then going to delve into more of the more esoteric or potential other allergies that your dog may have. Now, the first one is environmental. Now, think, and I've got some of my notes here. We have dust mites, we could have sand, we could have grass, we could have pollen, we could have any of these that we don't really know what they are, but they do tend to change with the season. And so when pollen is pollen season, then our dog tends to be a bit more itchy than normal. Or if I take my dog to the beach, for example, and they have an allergic reaction, or a reaction to grass or whatever, with the change of season, that could be an indication that is going to be transitory. And what you need to do is bear with the whole process. The second one is a food one, and I'm going to expand into all of these, so do not worry, bear with me. The second one is food allergy. Wheat, beef, chicken, corn, maize, meat and animal derivatives, natural flavors, corn gluten meal, corn protein meal. All these ingredients are inflammatory, they are vague, and we do not know what we are giving our dog whenever we give our dog natural flavors or animal fats, for example. So we are going to be paying attention to food and treats, and I'm going to delve deeper into that. And the third one is breed specific. So if you happen to have one of these more esoteric dog breeds, say a blue staffy, a blue lab, or something very, very tailored to a very specific taste, like a pug, for example, a burble. My friend has a burble, and they are very prone to having allergies. So those come from within and they can be managed. So in this video, we are going to solve 100% any food allergies. We are going to manage environmental, and we are going to manage contact allergies, or we are going to manage breed specific allergies. So I am going to be reading here some of my notes. So environmental allergies, what can you do if your dog has environmental allergies? Well, the first thing we need to pay attention to is the dermis, the skin. Dermatitis, any itis, means inflammation of whatever. So pancreatitis, itis is inflammation of the pancreas. Dermatitis is inflammation of the skin. My dog has contact with pollen. My dog's skin gets irritated. What can I do? The first one, we can gently brush our dog and try to remove some of these allergens on their coat. The second one can be oatmeal baths or goat meal baths. You can go to your local pet shop. Always support your local pet shop, and they will have some sort of soothing either spray or bath that you can give your dog. Soap, something like that will soothe their skin and their pores. You can also use coconut oil, even olive oil on their pores, and that might relieve a bit of the itchiness. Don't cover the whole dog with olive oil, because that's not going to work. If you have to bathe your dog, then you can use like coconut shampoo or something very mild, something like oatmeal. Do not over bathe your dog, because your dog's dermis, your dog's skin might get really irritated, and you do not want to interfere too much with the natural hair and the natural fur of your dog. I mean, we are different because we shower every day, because we are humans, but dogs and different animals, if you see animals in the wild, they do not bathe every day, and there's a reason for that. There's a lot of things that happens on your dog's skin that protects itself from the outside. So it's a bit of a give or take. You also have things like apple cider vinegar, and you can do this to relieve certain spots and certain hot spots that are associated with environmental allergies. It can also be put on their paws, and that can soothe somehow. We also have certain herbal supplements. We have turmeric. That's an anti-inflammatory. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful anti-inflammatory. We have omega-3s. We can give our dogs sprats, or we can give our dogs any omega-3s, any anti-inflammatories. I highly recommend you do not go down the salmon oil route, because salmon oil goes rancid as soon as you open it. So in my opinion, and we don't sell it because we don't believe in it, and we could sell you it, and we would be making money but not trusting in the product. So we don't sell it, and we don't like it. So any omega-3s need to be recurring and happening within the fish that your dog is eating. In my opinion, salmon oil is not the best. So anything that I can give my dog that is going to reduce the amount of inflammation, that's going to be really, really good. That's going to be what we want to do. Another tip I want to give you is, do not do everything at once. So try to identify what it is that your dog might be suffering with, and then try one thing at a time. What I see many people do, and we see this all the time, is that people on our consultations, we will give them a lot of directions. And by the way, you can book a consultation by clicking below. What we see a lot of people is that they try 7 different things, and one of those things works, but we don't know which one, because we have tried 7 different things. So try one thing at a time. The second one, and this is the most common one, is a food allergy. So food allergies, think things that are ultra processed. Think McDonald's, think KFC, think inflammation. If you have had indigestion or inflammation in your lifetime, and I've been having it in the past week or so, I have looked at my diet and I have identified potential allergens. It's the same with your dog. If you are giving your dog something that is making it really, really hard for his stomach or their stomach to digest, you are going to exacerbate the problem anytime and every single time you feed your dog. So if you were sensitive, and this is not an allergy, because an allergy is something different, but a sensitivity. If you have a sensitivity yourself to eggs, for example, and they give you a bit of a kick, and they give you a bit of a kick in the stomach, well, what I want you to do is not eat eggs all the time, because that's going to carry on giving you a kick in the stomach, and we don't want that to happen. So we want to try and eliminate what we are giving our dog. So potential allergens here: we have wheat, we have beef, we have chicken. What else? Natural flavors, very vague. Animal fats, extremely vague. We have corn, wheat, barley, soy, things like that. So try to see whether the protein you are giving on the back of your dog's bag of food is appropriate, or could be the one that's causing the sensitivity. So a lot more dogs are sensitive to chicken than they are to goat or reindeer, kangaroo, sardines, quail, There are so many novel proteins you can try with your dog, and that's probably what you need to do. If your dog is eating chicken every single day, or wheat, or pork, or some of these very wide mainstream, widely available proteins, well, you are really going to struggle, because those tend to be the ones that cause reactions. So by you moving away or deviating away from those meats, you are going to be a winner. And here, this is when everyone is trying to tell you something regarding food and what you should feed, and labeling things like hypoallergenic or plant-based, or try a vegan diet, try this, try that, try whatever. I want you to realize that everyone here is trying to sell you something. So whenever you get given a prescription diet, that prescription diet is going to contain animal fat or wheat gluten or rice. And we do not recommend you take the bag of dog food that your vet is recommending. They aren't trained in nutrition. They know very, very little about nutrition. And it is very likely that that bag of food is going to make things worse, because that bag of food is going to have some of those ingredients that we are trying to eliminate from our dog's diet. Same can be if your dog is having a prescription tablet, or a prescription for allergies or anything else. Some of those tablets and some of those treatments have pork fat or chicken fat in them. So you're giving your dog something to alleviate allergies. And if your dog is reactive to pork or chicken, you are giving them a tablet every single day that is pork flavored, And so you really have to pay attention. And these are the minimal details that really do make or break a dog somehow. And this is the difference between getting something down to a T, me identifying what's been wrong with my dog, solving it and forgetting about it, or having this problem forever, which is what a lot of people seem to be doing. So I wouldn't advocate for a vegan diet. Definitely not prescription diets. I would try to include some fresh food in your dog's diet if your dog is kibble fed. Kibble, again, it's ultra processed. It has been cooked at very high temperatures, and those cooking methods sometimes can make your dog's gastrointestinal issues a lot worse, or they can exacerbate existing preconditions. So I would highly recommend you move away from that. And by the way, we have homemade diets. We have written a book on homemade diets and things that you can identify, things that you can buy from your local supermarket or from your local pet shop, and those recipes are probably 10 times better than the food you are currently providing your dog with. And you can again download in the link below. You can also get some soluble fiber, some digestion aid in your dog, because at the end of the day, your dog's gut is interlinked with their epidermis, with their skin, with their coat. So adding kefir, for example, it's really beneficial. Adding a dollop of yogurt, natural yogurt, full fat natural yogurt, can be really beneficial. We can add things like pumpkin, a little bit of pumpkin. But again, with pumpkin, as with other sources of fiber, I would highly recommend you pay attention to the food first, because if you are giving your dog 20% vegetables in their diet and you give them more pumpkin on top of it, that starts being detrimental. So you have to be very mindful. And every dog has got a different condition and needs to be treated differently. So, right. Let's move on to contact allergies, right? We have natural shampoos, as we said, oatmeal, aloe vera, coconut oil. We be mindful of certain chemicals in the house. If you have moved into a new house, a new build, or the fabrics in your house, what could be triggering this allergy? If you have a very extreme bred dog, something like a pug, for example, or something that looks like an XL bully, for example, those breeds are extremely delicate. And if you have something in your house that has a weird fabric, or you have moved something, or you have added a new piece of furniture, for example, that could be having an effect on your dog. And you can treat it naturally. You don't have to spend any money. That's the thing. You don't have to spend a lot of money on vet bills and treatments and this, that, the other. Because again, anytime you give your dog a treatment, that's going to be not the best for their immune system or liver, if it's a tablet or whatever else. Let's move on to parasites, because this has to be a bit of a checklist. So we have fleas, mites, and ticks. So fleas, very, very discomforting for your dog. And my dog sometimes gets fleas. Now, when should you flea your dog? Whenever you see them. Do not treat fleas or preempt fleas in your dog. That really has a detrimental effect on your dog's liver. Anytime your dog's liver is trying to break down a tablet, that's bad for them. So let's try to keep treatments to a minimum. I do believe in science, and I do believe that you should pay attention to what your vet says and what they recommend. But at the same time, if your dog has pre-existing conditions or renal issues or pancreatitis, diabetes, whatever, and we put recurrent treatments on our dog, then that might not be the best course of action for them. Try to be natural when you can. When you can go natural, absolutely take a paracetamol, which is my thingy. If I cannot bear the pain or whatever, okay, I'll take a paracetamol. But I've drank water, I've slept, I've looked after myself, I've worked out, I've done this, I've done that, I've eaten well, and then if nothing works, then I take something. No, I take something and then I look after everything else, or look at everything else. The second one is going to be mites. So, mites are extremely discomforting, and our dogs might just scratch incessantly. So you can get one of these very fine combs, and you can soothe your dog. Again, you can try one of the soothing shampoos or treatments we said on the outset, and you can just groom your dog and comfort your dog. And they are horrible. The horrible thing, fleas and mites, they are absolutely horrible. But once you treat them, they go away, and if you treat them naturally, then wonderful. Fleas do live on your pet for quite some time, and they reproduce exponentially. So it's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and then very, very small numbers get into the millions very, very quickly. So I would say that if your dog has fleas or any of these things, attack the problem head on. Otherwise, you might incur into a pest control issue in your house, especially if you live alone and you leave the dog in the house for long periods of time. Then those parasites are going to fester and they're going to reproduce very, very quickly. And the third one, and this is horrible, is ticks. So, they cause localized irritation, and they can potentially transfer disease. You can get a tick remover. They are £5 or £10 or whatever. We sell them in our branches. Again, support your local pet shop. You go, you say, hello, can I get a tick remover, please? And they will happily help you, because that's what us folk do. Do not go to Walmart or Petco or Pets at Home or any of these. Try to go to your local pet shop and help them and support them, because we need you, actually. So, what can we do to prevent or treat some of these fleas, for example? So, essential oils. We have lavender, eucalyptus, they can act as a bit of a repellent or a soother. Nothing is going to stop a flea, so that's not going to be. I don't believe in just being holistic for the sake of being holistic. So if I have to flea and worm my dog, I'm going to do it. If I see the worms, if I see the fleas, but I can maybe add some eucalyptus or some lavender to try to prevent some of these things. Same with mites. Aloe vera works really, really well. And with ticks, we have herbal sprays. You can use maybe some garlic, apple cider vinegar with a hint of rosemary or thyme or whatever. And again, it's meant to soothe your dog. It's not going to prevent, there's nothing that will prevent ticks or fleas. So any of these are meant to help, are really meant to soothe. Now, let's move on to dry skin. Why does your dog have dry skin in the context of allergies? So we have weather changes, right? Excessive bathing. A lot of you are bathing your dog too regularly, all the time. Your dog does not need to be bathed every single week or every other day or whatever, or groomed every other week or every other month even. Why? Well, you are going to kill the pH of the dog. So these can really play a part in eroding the protection on your dog's coat. And again, we have poor nutrition. So what can we do to get that shine back? The first one I would say is a fresh diet. So either a raw diet or a fresh diet. And again, you can learn more clicking in the link below. Homemade foods for your dog. Keeping vegetables to a minimum. Things you can easily identify. So if you give the dog chicken, if the dog has a reaction to chicken, then you could chicken out. With kibble, it's very, very hard sometimes to decipher what we are actually giving our dog. If you think about it, again, everything is being rendered to a powder and then reconstituted. Is that real food? That's not real food. So try to give your dog real food. Then we move on to, again, omega-3s, fatty acids, really good. Any fish oil coming from fish, so anything fish is wonderful. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Skin infections. What types of infections could my dog have? Well, they could have a bacterial infection, and these can be excessive scratching, and this can lead to hot spots and redness and things like that. And again, bacterial infections tend to be quite pernicious. And then we have fungal infections, yeast infections. Yeast thrives off of sugar. So a lot of you who buy kibble or pouches or whatever, a lot of those contain sugar or high glycemic carbohydrates. So complex, hugely refined carbohydrates, those are going to feed the yeast. This is why having a good diet is so important for your pet. And then again, we have aloe vera, we have things like honey, and then we have things like chamomile tea and things like that we can help these conditions. We then move on to hormonal imbalances, and especially with pregnant dogs, or hyperthyroidism, Cushing's disease, and that's a complete separate video, and that needs to be looked at in a very specific way. So hypothyroidism, so low thyroid hormone levels, that can cause skin issues. We then have excess cortisol, and this is Cushing, and this leads to hair thinning and itching, and Cushing's needs to be treated very, very particularly. So we have things like iodine-rich foods, and iodine is pretty good. So if your dog is raw fed, you will see kelp or seaweed on the back, and these support thyroid health and function. And these are very common, they're very prevalent, and if your dog is raw fed, they are already getting some of these. And then, of course, we have valerian root. A lot of kibble now has valerian root, so that's something that does work. Hormonal imbalances is a complete separate thing, so this is just scratching the surface, and you can't take this as specific advice. You do need to delve deeper into it, and I need to delve deeper into it. We then get into grooming issues, and again, overbathing and improper grooming your dog, that can remove natural oils, and that leads to dryness and itching. So again, oatmeal based shampoos, those are great. Goat milk or shea butter, we sell shea butter in our pet shops, really good. Brush your dog on a regular basis. Moisturize their skin as much as possible. Try to stay away from any chemicals, any potent chemicals, bleach, for example, in the house, that sort of thing. So limit bath frequency and try to do spot cleaning or dry shampoos if you can. So you can get a dry shampoo from anywhere, and instead of bathing the whole dog, a little bit of dry shampoo, it does the job. It's gentle, it's efficacious, and it's wonderful, If your dog is stressed, let's talk about stress and let's talk about behavior. So if your dog is stressed or anxious, this can lead to scratching or over grooming, as we call it. So what can you do? This is a slightly different thing. Interactive toys. So you can stimulate your dog's mind. Puzzle feeders or treat dispensing toys or that sort of thing. Keep the dog entertained. Go to your local pet shop. They'll be able to help. Regular exercise. Do not take the dog around the park once every day and that's all the dog gets. That's not going to be the best course of action. Try to make it interesting. Try to make it varied. Try to keep the dog entertained. If your dog has this particular behavioral issue, stress, anxiety, if you're training your puppy, if you're training your dog, they get anxious, they bark a lot, that could be the reason why their skin is itchy. Physical activity, different physical activities. What mental stimulation are we providing the dog with? Again, puzzles, treat dispensers. Do we play ball? Do we play fetch? Do we teach the dog more tricks? I don't know. Whatever the case might be, Autoimmune diseases. What could it be? Well, you could have lupus, and this causes skin inflammation and chronic itching, and pemphigus, and it leads to blistering and sores on the skin. So you can do, again, whole foods are very good. Leafy greens, turmeric, good wholesome ingredients, fish, omega-3s, anti-inflammatories, that never ever changes. And then you get your turmerics, you go and get your kefir, you get your natural yogurt, etc., etc. You have to reduce the stress on your dog if your dog has an autoimmune disease, because again, these are very particular and they're so broad that we would need to know what condition specifically your dog is suffering from. And then we have yeast overgrowth, which we touched upon. If your dog or ears are very moist, or skin fold, certain dog breeds are prone to having skin folds in the paws, the ears, the groins. Those are prone to yeast infections. Remember, yeast feeds off of sugar, so diet plays a huge part on this. It plays a huge part on this. So Apple cider vinegar, 1-to-1 ratio with water. That's good. We have a low carbohydrate diet, and this is the most important thing. So no high glycemic carbohydrates, no rice, no, don't feed your dog vegetables, for example, because they cannot digest them in the mouth. They will come undigested on the backside. So try not to do that. And then we can have things like coconut oil, for example, on the dog's skin. Before you do any of these, try to tick. Is it environment? Have I bought a new sofa? Is it the dog's diet? Is it the dog's treatments? Is the dog on any treatment? Does the dog have any cardiovascular issues? Do we have any health issues? What could it be? Before we take the dog to the vet, again, let's try to identify what it could be. If you have just moved to a new house, in a new state, in a foreign environment, your dog might be suffering from allergies because of that change. And you do not need to give your dog anything else. You just need to, address that problem. Maybe you need to clean the house better, or with other products. Or if your dog has a dietary deficiency, maybe you do that. Maybe you address that first, and then you move on to something else. Before you give the dog anything, before you start going down the route of giving your dog this treatment, that treatment, antifungal, this flea treatment, this worming tablet, this and that, try to, what is it? Wheat, beef, chicken. Okay, no wheat, beef, chicken. Does the dog have fleas? I can't see any. Does the dog have mites? I can't see any. Does the dog have I bought a new sofa? Have I bought a new this? Have I bought a new that? Is the dog stressed? Have I changed jobs? What could it be? And then try and go down the list. Always look at diet first. That is half the battle, in my opinion. And we have always seen that dogs that are fed correctly, they do not suffer from allergies. They do not suffer from allergies whatsoever. Once they find the food, they don't take any treatments, any tablets, no nothing, and the dog is happy, the dog is healthy, and the dog just plots along. And that's what I want for your dog. That's what I really want for your dog. So the best thing you can do is go down the list. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And if you're not sure, you can request a blood allergy test, from your vet. Do not get a hair sample, because those do not work. Try the blood tests, and your vet needs to provide you with a sheet. You need to see the allergens, and you need to see, what's what. And maybe you need to test your dog 2 or 3 times. You have to give your dog lots of different foods for that food to be reactive. And you have to take your dog down the pub and in the field and to the beach, etc. And you need to get all those potential allergens and see which one your dog is reactive to. So if your dog is isolated and has only eaten one food forever, then your dog is not going to be reactive to goat. If your dog has never been exposed to goat, it's very hard for the test to show. So it's not 100% reliable, but if you are going to do it properly, because it's quite costly. And so that's the best advice I can give you. It'll save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars or pounds, which is what we do all day, every day in our branches. And I highly encourage you to download an allergy test and our allergy guide. That is the holy grail, and it will give you what to do, what not to do, how to address the issue, how to eliminate certain allergens and certain things. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Look at your dog's diet. You might think you're doing things correctly, But are you? I don't know. You need to have a look. Same with treats. A lot of dogs are reactive to chicken, yet so many treats contain chicken fat. So many treatments, so many tablets prescribed by the vet have chicken in them, chicken flavor. So you really do need to pay attention to these things. So yeah, you can reach me, you can book a consultation, you have all the resources down here. I cannot emphasize how good the dog allergy checklist is, because it'll save you, again, thousands of dollars or pounds, and the same for the other resources. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much.